Dear students and teachers, welcome to Digital Lessons. Today, let us learn about the key concepts of 6th, 7th and 8th classes that are required to understand the biology concepts of 9th class. In this session, we will try to understand living things, non-living things, cell, microorganisms and ecosystems. Dear students, you might have seen a variety of plants, animals, vehicles, industries and so many things in our surroundings. All these things are broadly classified into living things and non-living things. Some of these are living things and some of these are non-living things. What are the special features of living things? Now let us try to understand about living things. Living things have some specialized characteristic features compared to non-living things. They are movement, growth, food collection, breathing, excretion, response, reproduction and so on. Living things move from one place to another. Humans use their legs to walk and run. Butterfly flies with the help of its wings. The frog moves by jumping with its legs. The snake crawls on surface and moves forward. Fish swim in the water. Birds fly in the air. In the same way, plants shrink, the flowers of the plant blooms, the plant body move towards the light, plant roots move towards the water, but non-living things do not move. They are restricted to their position only. Growth in living things, we see that the seeds germinate and grow into plants and trees. In the same way, animals and humans grow in height from birth to certain age. Growth in plants remains throughout their lifetime. In animals, up to a certain age only. Every year, the change in the growth of plants, animals and humans is clearly visible. But non-living things do not grow. Food collection in living things. Animals and humans must need food to survive. Food is essential for growth and to perform different activities. Without food, the living things will die. Animals obtain their food requirements from plants or other animals. Plants make their own food through photosynthesis and consume a part of it. Rest of the food is stored in various parts. But non-living things do not need food. Breathing in living beings. We breathe through the nose. Without breathing, one cannot live even for a short time. By constant inhaling and exhaling in breathing, exchange of gases takes place. Due to continuous breathing, cellular respiration occurs and energy is produced in living cells. Plants are also constantly taking air through the stomata in the leaves. So, air enters into the plant leaves through the stomata. Non-living things do not breathe. Reproduction in living organisms. Reproduction is the process by which organisms produce new species of their own with similar features. Organisms like birds lay eggs and by hatching them produce new species, whereas some of the animals give birth to their young ones. Plants produce seeds and those seeds are again used to germinate into new plants. But non-living things cannot reproduce. Living things show response. Living organisms shows response to any external stimuli. The humans and animals show response to a various stimulus, like if we accidentally step on a thorn, we withdraw our leg immediately. We move away from the fire. We turn off our eyes when more light is focused. Salivating in the mouth when we look at the mango. All these are different responses given to different stimuli. Plants also shows response. Like animals, in the same way, plants also show response towards the light, water and gravity. We can observe plants growing towards the light. The leaves of the plants like touch-me-not, Mimosa pudica plant shrinks when we touch them. All these are different responses which are shown by living things. but non-living things cannot show any kind of response to the stimuli. What are all living things made up of? All living things are made up of cells. The structural and functional unit of living things is the cell. When we look at the structure of a cell, the cell has three main components. They are cell membrane, cytoplasm and nucleus. In cytoplasm, there are various kinds of cell organelles are present. When we look at the onion peel cells under a microscope, we can find cell wall, cell membrane, cytoplasm and nucleus. These cells are plant cells. In the same way, cell components are also found in our cheek cells. These are animal cells. In these cells also we can find cytoplasm, nucleus and cell membrane. Plant cells have an extra layer around the cell membrane called cell wall, which is made up of cellulose, whereas animal cells do not have cell wall. Do living things have an equal number of cells? Some organisms have a single cell. They are called unicellular organisms. Example, amoeba, paramecium, chlamydomonas. All these organisms have only one cell, so they are unicellular organisms. Some organisms have more than one cell. They are called multicellular organisms. Example, plants, animals and humans. In human, muscle cells, bone cells, blood cells, nerve cells and epithelial cells etc. are present. These cells perform different functions. Their shape depends on the functions they perform. Plants have many types of cells, as well as animals also have a wide variety of cells. Cells are microscopic in structure. These are invisible to the eye. In the same way, some organisms are very small and invisible to the eye. They are called microorganisms. These can be viewed with the help of a microscope. Dear students, now you are very much familiar with the structure of the cell. When we look at the structure of the cell, every cell consists of nucleus. Nucleus is the main part of the cell. It controls all the functioning of other cell organelles. So, the functions of a cell is dependent upon the nucleus. All the living organisms are made up of with the cells. That means the structure of an organism depends upon the structure it consists of. In the same way, the functions performed by an organism is also dependent upon the functions carried out by the cells. So, to perform different functions, various kinds of cells are present in all the organisms. In the same way, as the shape, size of the cells are different, these cells leads to a kind of variations. Depends upon these variations, different organisms looks in different way. So, different organisms as looking in different ways, that leads to diversity. That is the main reason why we are finding a variety of plants in our surroundings and various kinds of animals in our surroundings. In the same way, microorganisms also. A combination of different living things in our surroundings leads to biodiversity. So, biodiversity is the major part of every ecosystem. Are all the microorganisms same? How they are classified? Microorganisms are mainly classified into 5 groups. They are algae, bacteria, fungi, protozoa and microarthropods. When we look at the examples of algae, Chlamydomonas, Spirogyra, diatoms are the examples of algae. Examples of bacteria, Coccus, Bacillus, Lactobacillus. Here Coccus and Bacillus are the names given, depends upon their shape. Examples of fungi, Rhizopus, Aspergillus and Penicillium. Examples of protozoa, amoeba, paramecium, verticella. Examples of microarthropods, Cyclops, Daphnia, 𝗔𝗏. What are the benefits of microorganisms? There are many benefits with the microbes. They help in making foods like idli, dosha, cake, etc. Yeast is the microorganism which is used to make bread and cakes. Yeast also helps in making of idli and dosha. Microbes are used to make medicines like antibiotics. We are familiar with taking penicillin injections when we are sick. It is also made with a microorganism called penicillium. Penicillium notatum is a kind of fungus. Rhizobium, which is present in the root stalks of plants such as lentils and peanuts, provides plants with nitrogen from the air. In this way, they help in increasing the soil fertility. Biofertilizers are synthesized from microorganisms by decomposing plant and animal waste and helping to keep the environment clean. How microorganisms are harmful to us? Microbes can cause diseases in humans, animals and plants. Microorganisms can spread diseases from one person to another through air, water, food, insects and by direct contact. These type of diseases are called communicable diseases. We need to get vaccinated to prevent diseases. Microorganisms are also used to prepare vaccines. What are vaccines? What diseases can be prevented by them? The weakened and dead disease causing microorganisms which are injected in our body is called vaccines. They promote our body to produce antibodies and destroy pathogens. Vaccines gives protection from the diseases. The smallpox vaccine was first discovered by a scientist named Edward Jenner. This was the first vaccine discovered. Children are vaccinated against the diseases like tuberculosis, whooping cough, diphtheria and tetanus. Louis Pasteur invented the vaccine for dog bite disease called rabies. Pulse polio drops are also a kind of vaccine given to 0 to 5 years age group of children. Which diseases are caused in animals by microorganisms? Several diseases are caused by microorganisms in animals such as foot and mouth disease, septicemia in cattle, anthrax in sheep and goats, likewise viral diseases in fishes and prawns, bird flu, foulpox disease in poultry and rabies disease in dogs. Which diseases are caused in plants by microorganisms? Citrus canker by bacteria in lemons, red rot disease in sugarcane, ticker disease in groundnut, smart disease of rice by fungi, tobacco mosaic by virus are the diseases caused by microorganisms in plants. Where do we find microorganisms? Microorganisms are found everywhere. They are present in water, air, on plants, animals and human body. They are also found in extreme cold and hot conditions. Different microorganisms live in different environments. They are of various kinds. A variety of organisms are found in our surroundings. We can observe variations among these which leads to diversity in organisms. Think about these questions. What is biodiversity? Are all kind of living things found everywhere on earth? Are all the living things that once existed on earth still present? There are many kinds of plants and animals in the nature around us. They are unique about their color, shape, size and other characteristics, and every organism in nature has its own priority. This is called biodiversity. There are many plants and trees around us. Each plant is different in shape compared to the other plant. In the same way, every species has different characters compared to other species. For example, if palm tree is compared to a mango tree, it has different roots, stems, leaves, branches. They differ in all these features. Even when mango trees are compared to each other, some of the features are different. You may have noticed that mangoes come in different shapes and sizes. When a dog and elephant is compared, their legs, eyebrows, ears, body structure, etc. are different. It can be observed that some characters are different even when two dogs are compared. Millions of humans on earth are not identical to each other except a few twins. They all have different facial features. The organisms once lived in large numbers on earth and now declined rapidly are called endangered species. Blue jay and vulture are examples of our state which belongs to endangered species. Similarly, the species which are vanished from earth forever are called extinct animals. Example, dinosaurs. Details of extinct and endangered species are included and published. That book is called the Red Data Book. Endemic species are the organisms that are restricted to a particular geographical area or country. Examples are the kangaroo from Australia, the kiwi from New Zealand, the peacock from India. What are established to protect endangered species? Human activities in the name of urbanization and development are damaging the existence of flora and fauna. That is why national parks and sanctuaries have been established for the protection of species. National parks are areas where wildlife is protected in their natural habitat over a vast area. A sanctuary is an area that allows limited human activity without affecting the habitat of the species. By conserving forests, we can save many lives. Organisms with different characteristic features lives in different ecosystems. In every ecosystem, abiotic and biotic components are present. Sunlight, air, water, soil are the components of abiotic, whereas plants and animals, microorganisms are the biotic components. There are interdependence among these biotic and abiotic components. Now, let us try to understand the relationship among biotic and abiotic components. Food chain. The relationship for food among organisms in the ecosystem is represented by the food chain. Producers are the first nutrient level in the food chain. These are green plants. The next level consists of consumers. At this level, there are first herbivores, then carnivores. Microbes are the final level decomposers. Children, observe the following food chain. So, food chain starts with producers. Primary consumers are dependent on producers. Secondary consumers are dependent on primary consumers. Tertiary consumers are dependent on secondary consumers. So, look at the example given. Butterflies depends on flowers for their food requirements. Frog depends on insects like butterflies. Snake depends on animals like frog for its food requirement. So, this example represents a kind of food chain. See the classification of ecosystem. Ecosystem is broadly classified into two categories: natural ecosystem and artificial ecosystem. Artificial ecosystem is the ecosystem which is made by humans, or it is called man-made ecosystem, whereas natural ecosystem is again classified into two groups: terrestrial ecosystem and aquatic ecosystem. Terrestrial ecosystem is classified into grassland ecosystem, forest ecosystem and desert ecosystem. Aquatic ecosystem is classified as marine ecosystem and freshwater ecosystem. Every ecosystem consists of producers, consumers and decomposers. For example, producers of the forest ecosystem include plants, creepers, shrubs and large trees. Primary consumers include deer, elephants, rabbits. All the primary consumers are herbivores. Secondary consumers are Carnivores include tigers, wolves and lions. Decomposers include bacteria and fungi. These decomposers depends on the decaying and dead plant and animal bodies. They destruct the plant and animal bodies and add the nutrients to the soil. The mangrove ecosystem is where the river water meets the sea water. The producers in this ecosystem are mangrove plants and some type of algae. Consumers include crabs, prawns, snails and turtles. Bacteria such as detritus are decomposers. Organisms that live in different ecosystems have certain adaptations to the environment related to that ecosystem. Without those adaptations, they cannot survive. There are many gases in the air. The highest is nitrogen at 78%, followed by oxygen at 21%, carbon dioxide 0.03% and other gases are present. The other gases includes argon, neon, krypton like inert gases, water vapor, dust particles. All these other elements are under 1% only. Pollution is caused by two reasons, natural reasons and man-made reasons. Here forest fire is the natural reason, volcanic eruptions, whereas human activities such as burning fuel, industrial effluents, setting up power plants and using mines and chemicals, all these are man-made reasons that leads to pollution. Dear students, now we come to know that all the living things are made up of with cells. Cells are the structural and functional unit of living organisms. So, there are various types of cells are present in plant and animal bodies. These variations in the cells leads to diversity. So, we can find a variety of plants and animals in our surroundings, which is called as biodiversity. Different organisms lives in different ecosystems. In every ecosystem, biotic and abiotic components are present. So, all these different biotic and abiotic components are interdependent upon each other. If abiotic components are affected, then ultimately it shows impact on the biotic components. So, it is our duty to save our environment. Now, let us see the main points of today's session. Living things have some unique characteristics compared to non-living things. They include movement, growth, food collection, breathing, excretion, response, reproduction, etc. All living things are made up of cells. The structural and functional unit of living things is called cell. The cell has three main components. They are cytoplasm, cell membrane and nucleus. Some organisms have a single cell. They are called unicellular organisms. Example, amoeba, paramecium, chlamydomonas. Some organisms have more than one cell. They are called multicellular organisms. Example, plants, animals, humans. Microorganisms are mainly classified into 5 groups. They are algae, bacteria, fungi, protozoa, microarthropods. There are many benefits with microorganisms. They help to make foods like idli, dosa, cake and to make medicines like antibiotics, to increase soil fertility, to clean the environment, to make compost manure. Microorganisms can cause diseases in humans, animals and plants. Microorganisms can spread diseases from one person to another by air, water, food, insects and by direct contact. These types of diseases are called communicable diseases. There are many types of plants and animals in the nature around us. What is unique about color, shape, size and other characteristics are that everything in nature has a priority. This is called biodiversity. The organisms once lived in large numbers on earth and now declined rapidly are called endangered species. Blue jay and vultures are examples of our state. Similarly, the species which are vanished from earth forever are called extinct. Endemic species are the organisms that are restricted to a particular geographical area or country. Human activities in the name of urbanization and development are damaging the existence of fauna. That is why national parks and sanctuaries have been established for the protection of species. Every ecosystem consists of biotic and abiotic components. Abiotic components such as sunlight, air, soil and water, etc. Plants, animals and microorganisms are biotic components. The relationship for food among organisms in the ecosystem is represented by the food chain. Producers are the first nutrient level in the food chain. These are green plants. The next level consists of consumers. At this level, there are first herbivores, then carnivores. Microbes are the final level decomposers. Children, till now we have studied about living things and non-living things, their characteristic features and the structure of cell, types of cells that leads to variations in the cells, and also we have studied the biotic and abiotic components of ecosystem. So now let us go for evaluation. So all the children are advised to note down these questions and try to answer these questions. Compare unicellular organisms and multicellular organisms with examples. Draw the labeled diagram of any cell. Mention the group of microorganisms with examples. Write the advantages and disadvantages of microorganisms. What are the factors that affect the ecosystem? Draw a food chain and describe each level of it. What are the elements in the air? How can we observe the cells? Give examples of extinct, endangered and endemic species. What are the diseases caused by microorganisms in plants? Children, till now we have studied about cell, microorganisms and ecosystems. I hope that these concepts have better understood and useful for the understanding of 9th class biology concepts. So, we will meet again another.
ఆరోగ్య మిత్ర. యూరినరీ ఇన్కాంటినెన్స్ కు కారణాలేమిటి? యూరినరీ ఇన్కాంటినెన్స్ ను ఎలా నిర్ధారిస్తారు? యూరినరీ ఇన్కాంటినెన్స్ సమస్య వల్ల వచ్చే చిక్కులేమిటి? యూరినరీ ఇన్కాంటినెన్స్ సమస్య మహిళల్లో అధికమా? యూరినరీ ఇన్కాంటినెన్స్ కు చికిత్సలేమిటి? యూరినరీ ఇన్కాంటినెన్స్ నియంత్రణకు జీవనశైలిలో చేసుకోవాల్సిన మార్పులేమిటి? ఇలాంటి మీ సందేహాలన్నింటికీ సీనియర్ గైనకాలజిస్ట్ డాక్టర్ 𝗪.జయంతి రెడ్డి సలహాలు సూచనలు ప్రత్యక్ష ప్రసారం జూలై 29వ తేదీ శుక్రవారం సాయంత్రం 4 గంటలకు మీ TSAT నిపుణాలు. సంప్రదించవలసిన మా ఫోన్ నెంబర్లు 04023540326, 04023540726, టోల్ ఫ్రీ నెంబర్ 180042540339. జూలై 31 ఆదివారం ఉదయం 11 గంటలకు TSAT విద్యలో పునః ప్రసారం. భారతీయ పౌరుల ప్రాథమిక హక్కులు